Body, plastic, glue gun, head, fill, panic. Wait, success! Okay everyone, so I got this Willem Dafoe head, and I just thought it would be a really cool exercise to paint this up. And sometimes I just buy a head because I think the sculpt is really good, and then I paint it up just for fun. I don't really have any plans for it. Maybe I can make it into a Nathan from Beyond Two Souls, because I am working kind of very slowly on a Jodie figure from Beyond Two Souls. But we'll just paint this up for now and see where we'll land. So starting off, we're going to use my trusty Cadian flesh tone as a base. And because of the skin tone, well, the plastic already being kind of skin tone-ish, I don't think we're going to have to use as many layers as we usually have to do. Probably 1 or 2 is going to be enough. And I've actually diluted the paint with quite a lot of water, so despite me kind of just slathering the paint on, it actually goes on pretty smoothly. Something I do need to work on though is that my palette, which is just my my desk, sometimes there's like some like particles of just random stuff on there, so that gets mixed into the paint and it sucks, but I try to keep it clean. Okay, I think 2 coats of this is gonna be alright. I am an idiot. I thought I recorded the dry brushing process, but anyway, basically what I was saying is that Willem Dafoe has some really striking wrinkles, and the starker you make the contrast between like the highlights and the original Cadian flesh tone, the more kind of like caricaturish you're gonna end up with. So I want the white mixed with Cadian flesh tone to be a little bit more subtle than I would normally do, just to not kind of veer into caricature territory. And yeah, it looks all right. I think it might actually be like a little bit too strong already, but I'm gonna have to wait until this dries to fully get an image of what it looks like. So looking at some reference pictures, I think his skin tone is actually a little bit too dark, so I'm going to try to brighten it up a little bit more. I have the same mix of white and Cadian flesh tone with just a little bit more white this time, and we're just gonna try to tint everything a little bit more. And this is kind of what I was fearing, that the highlights and like the crevices would be too dark in terms of contrast, but I don't really know what it's gonna look like until everything dries. And then also when the hair gets painted and the eyes and the lips and everything comes in, it actually balances out skin tone quite well. It's like an optical illusion almost. But as you can see here, all the wrinkles are a little bit too pronounced at the moment, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna do something I don't usually do, and I'm gonna do a very light, kind of like watery cover up. And I hope this is almost like translucent enough that it will mostly tint everything, but I'm kind of doing spots rather than big areas. So while I still figure out if the skin tone is good or not, let's paint the hair just to get that contrast I might have mentioned when I was dry brushing the face. I'm not really sure if that was part of the footage where I wasn't actually recording or not, but yeah, let's just put some dark brown on here, and this is just going to be the kind of base coat of it, because there's going to be a lighter brown dry brush on top of it. So the important thing is that everything gets into the crevices. And I cannot stress just how much easier this would be without the camera. I do love painting hair though, because especially when it's so finely detailed, like I really like seeing the paint seep into all of these tiny sculpted hairs. Okay, so I'm not still really sure about the skin tone, but I figured we would do a little bit of extra work on the eyes now, just to kind of get a general feel of this entire sculpt. So what I'm doing is I'm painting in the eyelashes, and I'm just kind of sloppily putting some black in here, because we're gonna fill this in with white afterwards, but we're gonna leave the black top. And you can imagine me being right-handed, this eye is always a lot harder. So I think this is decent, maybe just like making sure this black line is there. Okay, so now we have some Vallejo white gray, and I'm gonna punch in the whites. And if you go a little bit outside of the lines, it's not the entire world, because we can just finish that up. I do want to add a little bit of a darker paint around the eyes anyway, so that's fine. Okay, so we've gotten some pretty good results with the white. So now comes kind of like the moment of truth, where we add the black pupil, and just getting them in the right spot. This looks good, but it needs to be bigger. And just like that, we low-key ruined it, but it's fixable, I think, so this would be, again, so much easier without the camera in between me and the figure, but hopefully this will be worth it. The thing is that while a really small brush is good for detail, it's actually more the tip that counts, and this slightly bigger brush actually has more of a tip than the previous one, even though it's smaller. So when I said that I ruined something earlier, it was that it just got a little bit too like hard of an edge down here, so I'm gonna try to round it off a little bit. Pretty decent in terms of placement. I think I'm gonna have to wait and just kind of mull over it. So there are 3 ways to muck up eyes, and all of them are easier to muck up than the last one. So time to add some color to the eyes. So this is some Vallejo blue-green, and we just have to leave a tiny little outline of black. So some color added, and unfortunately the last step is, well, technically it could be the last step, it could be the second to last step, depending on if I want to do like a white light reflection or not, but I'm gonna have to add a tiny black dot in the middle of this green blue. So I'm gonna do that off camera, because it gives me anxiety to do it on camera. Okay, so I'm actually kind of happy with these eyes, so let's move on to something that's far less grating on my nerves, which is just the lips. So the lips, for me, I'm just gonna put some Reichland Flesh Shade onto the lips, because they're gonna make the lips a little bit redder, give them a little red tint, and they're also gonna shade the inside, like the little mouth crevice, like so. And I think I'm gonna give it a lip mix as well, like of blended paint, but we'll see how this looks when it dries. So we're gonna dull down the eyebrows a little bit, and for that we are basically going to just kind of brush the edges of the eyebrows. And also slightly dry brush on top of them to kind of dull them down just like a little bit. I still don't really like the skin tone, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'm going to add some Reichland Flush Shade under the eyes. I'm going to see if that adds some life to it. Adding a little bit up here too, because why not? There's just too much detail, I think, in the sculpt. Like, this entire thing should be a lot smoother, so I think I have to kind of paint over with a lot of flesh tone and then just kind of choose which wrinkles I want shaded. So, yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna do something really weird. I'm just gonna take the Cadian Flesh Tone, add a whole lot of water, and kind of just put a big wash over the entire thing. I have no idea how that's gonna turn out, but... So I actually quite like this after the Cadian Flesh Tone wash, but now comes to the stage where I just kind of experiment, and I'm decided to add some Agrex Earth Shade under here. I feel like I just need to add some more detail under the eyes to make some difference. So I'm pretty happy now, I think, with how everything is turning out. So I might redo a couple of things, but for now, let's just give the hair a little lighter dry brush of some more vibrant brown. And here we are with Willem Dafoe completed, and I think he turned out pretty well. I do have a minor issue with the sculpt, I think, in general. It's that I think this area here between the nose and the mouth is a little bit too long. I think if you removed just 0.5 millimeter or something from here, it would look a lot better, but well, here we are now, and I think it's a passable job. So like I said, I just kind of painted this head up for fun, so I wasn't gonna do anything with it, but now that it came to my attention that I think this gap is just like too long, I'm gonna try to fix it. So I'm gonna have to do a really straight cut. Where would be the best place to do it? Probably like up here. So I was cutting and his jaw just flew somewhere here. I have no idea where it went. Okay, so we got some milliput clay here, just white, and we're gonna try to fuse these two parts again. So we're gonna put it... So there's this much difference now, like this was flush with this earlier. So I know this looks really stupid right now, but I've fused this bit here, and I'm just waiting for the super glue to make it so that I can work on filling up this gap properly. But this is where I am right now, and yeah, so since I did the resculpting at like 3 AM last night, I didn't realize that I think it might be a little bit crooked. But we'll just brush on some Cadian Flesh Tone just to see where we are, and then we'll adapt accordingly. So unfortunately, this kind of undoes all of the work I did earlier on the skin tone, but in the long run, it's going to be worth it. Also, yes, it is indeed crooked. However, it actually does look pretty darn good. So yeah, we'll have to try to dislodge all of this again and straighten it out a little bit. Okay, so attempt number 2. Let's just put some Cadian Flesh Tone on and see where we are in the sculpt. I'm almost scared to like turn it around, but Yeah. I think we can work from here. Okay, so here is Mr. Dafoe with the bit here just shortened, and I think this made the likeness a lot better. I did actually go in and try to fix his eyes because I wasn't really happy with them, but I am still not really happy with them. But overall, I think this was a fun little project. It would have been a lot easier if the cut here was just straight instead of in the weird way it broke off, where it broke up in kind of like a curve. There is, however, one saving grace if I do turn this into a Nathan Dawkins from Beyond Two Souls, in that Nathan wears glasses, and I do have these glasses here that I use for Riddler, so just let's put them on. And boom, suddenly with my crappy eye paint completely nullified by the glasses, this looks phenomenal. So yeah, really happy with how this turned out, and I hope you enjoyed watching me do this. Bye!